For the past couple of weeks, we have been looking at the story of Joseph. And today we're going to finish that story up. Actually, I've been living the story of Joseph for the past week because I was Joseph for Vacation Bible School. And if you can imagine, almost 200 kids here and the wonders of that week that we had together. But to live and to tell the story of Joseph has been a real blessing. And thank you for those of you who brought kids and grandkids and neighbors to Vacation Bible School. We had a wonderful time. But I thought today I would step back into character for one last time as we finish off the story of Joseph. Well, I look a little different than the last time we met. Last you heard, my life sucked. It was awful. You remember how it was? My brothers, my dear, wonderful brothers, they stole my beautiful robe that my dad gave me. They poured blood on it, told Dad I was dead. They threw me in a pit and sold me to slave traders. Yeah, then the slave traders took me down to Egypt. And in Egypt, I was sold to a man named Potiphar. And I worked day and night for Potiphar. And God blessed Potiphar, and he became wealthy and rich. And he didn't have to worry about anything, and I had to do all the work. And then to top it all off, his wife started coming on to me and wanted me to be unfaithful with her. When I said, no, I won't do that, she accused me of rape, and I was thrown in prison. I spent years in prison. My life was awful. If anybody had a right to be angry, it was me, and all because of my brothers. Oh, how I wanted payback. I wanted to get back at my brothers for all that they'd done for me, and I got my chance. Because here's what happened. God gave me this special ability. I could understand special dreams of prophecy. And one day while I was in prison, the Pharaoh had a dream. He dreamed that there were 7 fat cows, huge and giving lots of milk. And then along came 7 scrawny cows, dried up and withered, and they ate up the big fat cows. Now, that's a bizarre dream because cows don't eat cows. Pharaoh wondered what it meant. Then there were 7 stalks of grain, tall and reaching up towards the sky. And then there were 7 withered stalks of grain that came and gobbled up the 7 tall ones. Again, bizarre. And the Pharaoh felt that there was some meaning in it, and he wondered who could explain it to him, and no one could. But someone remembered that I was in prison, and I understood dreams because of God's help. And so the Pharaoh called me to his palace here. And he said, Joseph, I hear that you can interpret dreams. And I said, no, I can't. No, but God can. God can give me the meaning. And by God's help, I'll explain. I said, God is telling you that there are going to be 7 great years. The harvest is going to be abundant, and the cattle are going to grow fat. But then that's going to be followed by 7 years when the rains won't fall and the Nile won't rise and it won't flood the land and everything will dry up and people will be hungry. And Pharaoh said, Joseph, what should I do? And I said, if I were you, I would save during the good times so that we have something when the bad times come. I would save 20%. Now, saving 20% isn't easy. How many of you save 20% during the good times to last through these bad times? It's hard work. Even harder to get a whole country to do that. And Pharaoh said, Joseph, I'm going to give that job to you. You can arrange for the grain to be stored so that we can survive during the lean years. But Joseph, you're going to need a new look and a new name. And so he gave me the gold chains, and he gave me the robes. I got the haircut, He gave me a new name, Zaphanath-Paneah. I don't know what it means. Some Egyptian thing, I don't know. But he gave it to me, and now I'm in charge. And for 7 years, it was great. For 7 years, we had grain coming out of our ears. We couldn't build barns big enough to store it. But now, for the past couple of years, the rains haven't fallen. And we're getting people around are running out of food. But here in Egypt, we still have something because of God. And this is where it gets good. Because my brothers living over there in Canaan had no food. Payback time. And they heard that there was food in Egypt, and so they came here, and they came bowing down before me just as I thought they would, just as God had told me. They didn't realize it was me, though. I'm a little bit older since they last saw me, a lot older than they last saw me. I look different. I've got a different name. And so they came, begging for grain. Well, I sold them some grain, but I had the chance for payback, and I took it. I said, "You aren't really here for grain, are you? You're spies. Into prison with you." They said, No, we're not spies. We're just simple brothers. We've come here to get food for us and for our family back home, our father, our youngest brother Benjamin, the family there. And I said, "You're liars. Prove it to me. One of you will stay here in prison, and the rest of you can go back and get your younger brother and bring him here to prove your story." It was payback time, and oh, was it fun. Well, when they got back to Dad, Dad wouldn't let Benjamin come. He said, "I've already lost Joseph. I'm not going to lose another one." But then their grain ran out, and they were forced to come back. And they came back, and this time they brought gifts, as if they could bribe me, the ruler of all of this food. And they brought me honey, and they brought me spices, and myrrh, and money, and pistachio nuts. I'm going to be bought off with pistachio nuts? I don't think so. And they came groveling before me, and they said, "Could we purchase some more grain?" And then the greatest payback of all occurred to me. I would do something so devious. When their grain was being loaded up in the last sack, in Benjamin's sack, I had my cup put inside. And I let them get out of town a little ways. And then I yelled, "Stop, thieves! They've stolen my cup." Well, of course, when the guards found them, they said, "We don't know anything about a cup." And they opened the bag, and there it was. And they were brought back before me. Now, I could have sent them to prison forever. I could have had them killed on the spot, and no one would have known. I could have my payback. But you know, my brothers weren't the only ones to visit me this week. I had a visit from a lot of children. In fact, some of the children that I see here today, some of your children. And when I told them my story, one of them said, "If you're as mean to your brothers as they were to you, then that just makes you a bully just like them." Another one said to me, "God forgives us, so you should forgive your brother." And another one simply said, "You have to be nice to them. They're your brothers." And it got me to thinking. It got me to thinking about this whole payback thing. Is that the purpose of my life? Has God brought me to this palace? Has God brought me to this place simply so I could get payback? Or did God have something